For Jesus Christ had spent 40 days with disciples after his resurrection, talking to them on matters pertaining to the kingdom. When you don't have power and authority to legislate, your influence over the nations will be limited. When you don't have power to legislate, you will pray and fast for the things that you were not supposed to pray and fast for. So I want to say to you, we need the legislation, or we need the power to legislate. Where am I coming from? I'm saying this because I was perusing through the so-called the new bill on equality and prevention of unfair discrimination. And I realized that if it goes through, we as people of the kingdom, we are going to face a serious challenge on matters pertaining to freedom of religion. And this is important for us, that we cannot prevent this by only petitions, praying, and fasting. We need power to legislate. Jesus said, "All power in heaven and on earth is given unto me." And right now I have a question. What does all power mean? Does it only mean power to cast out demons? Power to heal the sick? Power to raise the dead? Doesn't all power include also power to rule? Power to legislate? Power to govern? Otherwise, I'm concerned in that what Adam lost in the Garden of Eden was not power to cast out demons, power to raise the dead. There was no demons there. There was no death. There was no sickness to be healed. There was power to rule the earth, power to govern the garden. And this is the power that Adam lost. And if Jesus had come to bring restoration, Jesus should be restoring us that same power. And in fact, when you look into the battle between the serpent and the woman in the Garden of Eden, it was all about the power to rule, because God has already laid the policy, the act, the rule on how the garden is supposed to be governed. And when the serpent appears, what he does, he challenges the laws that were in place and say, these laws are discriminatory. These laws doesn't want you to be at the level where God is, doesn't want you to be as wise as God is, doesn't want you to enjoy the trees that are good. So I believe we are also living in times and in seasons, in days where we see the world of darkness, the world of wickedness coming into the garden, and their idea is to challenge what the Lord has established. If the word says this is what we are not supposed to be doing, this laws has come to challenge us also in those areas. They want us to come to the place where we question the truthfulness, the genuineness, the love of God for us, by preventing us to reaching out to this tree of knowledge of good and of evil. And I want you to come with me and say, with an understanding that Jesus, when he says he has taken all, or he has been given all the powers on earth, he was saying, I have also been given power to rule the earth. I'm not going to be long. What I want you to understand is that Joseph did not pray because he had power to legislate. When did this happen? We know Joseph comes down to Egypt. He's a slave in the house of Potiphar. He's promoted to be the household manager, chief steward of the house of Potiphar. After some time, he finds himself in prison. He is promoted to be the chief manager of the prison, and later he finds himself in the palace. And Pharaoh gave him the power to legislate. After some times, his brothers, his father, and they come to the place of Egypt. And when they were in hunger, he didn't go to Pharaoh and pray or go to God and ask God, what must I do? Please give these people favor. No, he just says, go home, pick up your stuff, come down here. I will take a place and reserve it for you. It shall be the place where you can stay until such time. So because he had power to legislate. I've seen churches struggling, others they are facing demolitions by the municipal, others they are struggling to get the land. I've seen many things happening in the house of God. Why? Because we don't have the power to legislate. And that is why we are praying for the land instead of us legislating. I want to say to you, we need the power to legislate. And Jesus included that power when he says, all power is given unto me. You can look also into the life of the Israelites. When they were in Egypt, because Joseph had died and another king had come who knew no Joseph. So the Israelites are left as a nation within a kingdom of Egypt that doesn't have power to legislate. And God says, I'm sending Moses to deliver you from Egypt because I want you to transition from being just a nation into becoming a kingdom. I want you to come into a land. And when you come into the land, I'll give you the power to legislate. Hey, my God, this is very powerful. I want you to come to the place where you understand. Say, Moses is saying, I'm taking you out of Egypt. And so that you can have your own law, so that you can become a holy nation with a holy law, with a whole education system, with a holy business system. Must be holy. But you cannot have your own holy system, holy law, holy things without you being in a place where you have power to legislate. God wants us to have power to legislate.